Hello Fearhearts of the Blue and welcome to another Royal Retinue review. And you may be asking, what is the Royal Retinue review? Well, this is a monthly gathering of all my Patreon and channel members that can submit one mini for me to review for them live on this stream. This is for Patreons and channel members of the tiers Minatams or above. And this is a way to give them something back because, as you may know, I don't have any exclusive content behind any paywall. So this is the only way I have to give them something back. But if you if you want one mini, if you want me to review one mini for you. It's very easy. Just go to my Patreon or to my YouTube members page and just subscribe for the $5, euros, or pounds or above. So the Minatams or above tier, and that would be enough for you to get your minis reviewed. But if you don't want to pay, or you don't have disposable cash, because let's not kid ourselves, we all have budgets for our hobbies. Go to the Facebook page, the PMP, the Painters Motivating Painters Facebook group, and there once a month you can submit a mini, and the great Vince Venturella will give you feedback for free. So if there are two options for you, I like to go a bit more in depth. That's what I do just for my members and for my lovely Patreons. So if any of you can confirm if you hear me well, everything should be working fine, but you never know with YouTube. And if everything's well, I will just jump into the review. Yeah, seems everything is fine. As always with the review, I won't be able to read the comments on the chat and we while I'm doing the review. So if you leave a question or if you leave a comment, just please know that I won't be able as I won't be able to read it live. So I will go back once I finish the review and read all the comments and chat a bit with you. But first of all, why don't we jump into the review? And this month it will be... Oh yeah, I will just I will answer Team Orange question. Hello, do I have to wait for your post? You can submit entries for the review at any time. You can submit it at any time. There should be a post on the YouTube community tab. Maybe I have forgotten. Very bad, but it's the same post and it's the same instructions for every month. So if you have already paid and you are an active member, just go and just submit your minis at any time. You don't have to wait. So if you have missed one month because you were waiting for the post and I have forgotten, don't worry. Just give me 2 minis to review for the next month and I will do it. So sorry if I have forgotten to post on the YouTube community for the members, which is a bit annoying to use, and that's maybe why I have forgotten. Marcus Meyer, this is real gold and dual gems. No, that's not. It's a very good quality prop, but it's not. Sadly, it's not. It's as fake as everything here. So why don't we jump straight into the review, which I'm very excited this, and I'm going to start with a big one. So let me see if I can jump into the... There you go. That should be showing fine. Okay, let's all agree we are starting from the first mission. This is from Chelsea. And don't we all agree that this is a beautiful looking mini? I think we can all see that. Fantastic color scheme, especially on the floaty ghost and on the darker parts of the cloth. But overall, I think we can all agree this is a fantastically well painted mini. very good, very good looking, and very well balanced also, except for the base, but I will go back into that later on. So after we have all agreed that this is fantastic looking mini, I will just blow everyone's mind here, and I will tell you that this is someone's 8th mini. And after you have all called your psychologist for depression, let's go into the review. Yeah, this is Chelsea's 8th mini, and it's well, it's a good mini without having that in mind, but having that as someone, this is the 8th mini she has painted. I will just say that this is stunning. This is absolutely incredible. So why don't we jump in and see what I can say about this. So first of all, I really like the ghosty bits. Let me just put a red here. If you can see, she has done a fantastic, whoops, come on, sorry about that, technical issues with Photoshop as usual. I'm going to make this bit smaller too. There you go, much better. So as you can see, all the ghosty bits are really well done, and she has done something that it's very reminiscent. At least I kind of get vibes from Craftwall Studios. Very colorful, using a lot of warm shadows, warm highlights, and cold midtones, which she has done. It has like a very purpley warm color for the deepest shadows, cold midtones, and very warm highlights, and gives very colorful and yet very beautiful expression on those ghosty bits. And she has done the same for the main darker bit on the ghosty boy robes, and something a bit similar for the wispy bits here, but maintaining a much colder look for the main robes. And overall, this is fantastic color scheme, and really, I really like it. As for improving, well, the first improvement I would say is just do a better base. But she has already told me that once she has finished a paint job, kind of lose motivation for the basing. But there are some things you can do just with that simple base, which is just a basing paste. What I will do is do an overbrush with a lighter color, something like a Ushapti bone or something like that, a bonish color. You do kind of not a dry brush. You don't want the brush to be like super dry, but a bit of just discharge the brush and just do a very light coat over catching just the tops of the sand. Yeah, I think I have a video about it. If you go and look for my how to base sand or painted sand or something like that, I kind of have forgotten at this point how I name my videos, but I think it's the painted sand. You will see that I do kind of an overbrush over all that will catch all the little grains on the texture paint. And once you have done that, you just have to take a shade and just apply it all over. That alone, like something like Agrax Earth shade, you can do, or you can do something like a Thonian Camo shade if you want to give a kind of a greenish tint to the sand. Both of them would be a perfectly valid option, and that alone will bring that base to the same level of contrast as the rest of the model, because right now you have a very contrasty looking model, which is really beautiful, and then a very plain base, and that's kind of boring. And just after that, just gluing some tufts, some for an undead, something like like a brownish, like a dry grass kind of tuft would be just perfect. Just a random tufts here and there. And you can even go for some flowers, which work really well with ghosts. So you can go for, I would probably look for some, maybe some purple looking flowers. I use purple for my ghosty boys. And they work really well. I may have to show a picture at some point in the Discord. But yes, sorry. Sorry there. Yeah, adding just a tiny bit of color. The ideal will be some kind of a very faded yellow, but it's hard to get specific colors of grass, of flowers. They usually are very vivid, and you don't want vivid colors. You want like a kind of toned down. So that's what I use, like kind of a lavender flowers, which look really well with the overall wispy effect and the ghosty effect. And apart from the base, which is very easy to fix, if you lack motivation to do the base, I do. Trust me, I'm here. That's why I have developed very super easy basing techniques like that. Basing paste, overbrush, wash, job done. Glue some tufts and move on. Just doing that will increase this quality quite a bit. And overall, I would just say that, as I said before, these ghosty boys, they are beautiful. I mean, like, really, really nice job. The only thing you need to improve on them is basically, let me just pick up one of these. Yeah, it's basically a bit more definition. So you probably want to define the shapes, for example, here on the teeth better. But that is just brush control and just practice. So you want a bit more of that. Painting, for example, the inside of the noses. And again, overall, just defining a bit better. Just defining a bit better all those shapes of all the fine details that are there. So just going, if you take this darker color and you thin it down, and you can just go with a thin brush and just place it on those places. I know I am saying this as if it's easy, and I know when you are new, this kind of stuff seems very daunting, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that hard, and it will really improve the overall quality. I really like, as I said, all these darker bits. But for example, you can go and as you did all the edge highlighting here, you can also do a bigger highlight on the rounded bits. For example, you can take the green and do a highlight here and here on the top of the head, and then you can, as you did, you can take this lighter green and just do a smaller highlight there, and there. And as you can see, that kind of makes a big difference, and I think it makes it look much better. Again, overall, this is already very nice, but you can always add more volumetric highlights, which will, I hope you can see that this will help quite a bit to improve the overall look. Let me just take this down a bit. There you go. There you go. And you can tell just by that how much like intense looks, and this also helps bring all the attention into the face, which is basically what you want. You want all the attention to be in this area here where I'm highlighting, and on the same vein you can increase the highlights here around his eyes, just like that, and all of a sudden it kind of pops more, and your look is looking down there, and you're also increasing that amazing effect of ultra contrast with the very warm highlights on yellow and green highlights onto very purpley blue base coat, which is just stunning. I mean, like, I'm probably going to use that at some point because it's a really good idea. And you can also work more on that same contrast. You can work more and taking something like this almost pure white that you have on the tips and use that to highlight a bit more the hands. Just like that. Let me make this a bit smaller. Let's see if I can. I'm taking pure white. Okay. And you can increase your come on. Oh, okay. I know. Now I see. Damn, Photoshop. I need to improve my Photoshop skills. I'm not as good as others. Just like that. You can do some dots with this white on the hands, for example, too. So you can even take this same color and use it to do a final highlight on the wood, like that. So just increasing that contrast overall, so every single detail has that same level. And as you played with the color contrast on the wispy bits and on the darker robes, you can also do something that I think it will look very good. What good is taking something like a very dark magenta or very very dark magenta or a very light purple. Maybe a bit more purpley would be a good idea. Something like this. Yeah, something like this. And you can add shadows, even if it's lighter. You can add shadows into the robe here. You can glaze this into the robes, just like this. Just like this. Something like that. I think that looks quite good. I quite like this. You may not, so that is, but I think that will look quite well, actually, and will increase that will play along with the same tones you have on the Wispy Boys here, but a bit lighter, and I think it will be a very interesting look. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I quite like it. But overall, it's just pushing just a tiny bit more all your highlights all around, and working on the base, which is the most important bit. You will have noticed that I haven't talked about his whatever this is called, the hanging wood bit. They could also benefit from some for more highlights, but the truth is, this looks really good as it is, because you want all the attention centered on his face. You want all the attention here, and actually not highlighting this to the very extreme limit will make it very easy to focus on that face, which is what you want. So I'm not even going to suggest that. I think it looks fantastic as it is, and I think it kind of could be a bit distracting if you highlighted that to the same level of contrast. So I'm actually quite happy with that. So this is basically it. Again, fantastic looking paint job, and this is one of my favorite entries ever, and a very original way to paint Night Haunt. And I think this has very good potential. Just work a bit more on your volumetric highlights. Try to learn. You can do it with layering, but you can also try and practice glazing, which I think it will be good for you, because you really have a talent to pull it off. So yeah, thank you, Chelsea, for the submission. This is a beautiful one, and I'm really happy to be able to review it. So let's go jump into the second submission. This is a big one. So there are a lot of things. This is from John, and he submitted a lot of old school Chaos Marines and a very old school Chaos Dreadnought. And this is a prime example of how to use contrast paints well to paint something that looks fantastic, and also a proof that contrast paints look amazing on all Hammer minis, because they have so much texture, so much organic shapes that it kind of lends very well, especially for Chaos. So this is again everything is done with contrast paints. Different recipes. We can see here the Death God recipe that I used for the video. Very well executed. Again, this is just basic paint job without any highlights, but again, looks really good for a unit, and it's a fantastic way to revive and to give new life to this old minis that I actually really like. All Chaos Space Marines, they have something. They really do have something special. They are mad and quirky, and that's something that I think it's a bit lost on the modern ranges. So again, a fantastic variety of different paint jobs. We have everything from kind of a Black Legion to Khorne, Nurgle, Scenes, and Slanesh with the Dreadnought. Overall, great job. Very clean execution of a contrast paint job. Of course, you can always add highlights, especially that will benefit the Dreadnought more than anything else. Just a quick edge highlight on the metallic details will be enough, and you can always highlight. You don't have to highlight everything, but you can take a very light gray or a very light bone color, something like Vallejo off-white, and you can do one highlight on the skull, for example, like that. Just maybe on the face of the Dreadnought, just picking the cheekbones, just making a bit more attention into those details. You can also take a light orange, something like Lugenath orange, and do a line highlight there and there, just to add a bit more focus onto the face. But what I think this will benefit is a bit of a glow. So I'm going to take something like a fluorescent green, and you can paint that fluorescent green onto the eyes. Just turn it into a wash, and you can place it inside of the eyes and also inside of the weapon, for example, just here. That's there. And then you can mix this with something like tone yellow, which will give you a color similar to this. Something like this. And you can make another dot of this inside there, and then you just move something into something like pure dawn yellow, and do a final dot of this into the middle, and all of a sudden that Dreadnought kind of looks, all your attention is drawn into the face, is drawn into the weapon, and I think it looks fantastic. I think it will be a very good addition, and it's not hard to do. Actually, it's quite easy. So yeah, I will just probably do that. Another thing you need to probably work on, even if this is just a basic paint job that you did on very old minis that you basically rescued from an old box, is clean the mold lines. I know mold lines sometimes slip by. I know cleaning them on metal models, especially these that are lead, is not pleasant, because we don't want to have everything contaminated with lead. That's not pleasant, and it's not safe. But I really encourage you to clean them off. The safest way I found for the lead minis is just scraping them, because lead is very soft. So just scraping as you do with the plastic minis, it leaves some chips that you can clean easily, and it won't turn into a dust, which is more dangerous. And of course, clean your hands very well after manipulating them. But overall, I really like this Dreadnought a lot. Moving into these guys down here. Of course, you know what I'm going to say. Adding highlights is always the easy option, but knowing that you are doing a basic paint job, I will probably, the only thing I will do with these guys is shade the tufts a bit. You just need to take something like Agrax Earth Shade, something like this, and run Agrax into the bottom of each tuft, just like this. Just because right now they are looking a bit too bright. Maybe it's it is what you want, but so feel free to ignore everything I'm saying. But that's what I will do probably, because they kind of stand out a bit too much for me. And then you can take something like a very light bone color, something like Screaming Skull, or something like even again Off-White by Vallejo, maybe padded with flesh, and just highlight the tops of each tuft, and they will look more integrated into the overall paint job. So excuse me if I don't go like all the highlights you can make, because you already know that, and this is not the point of this set of minis. This is meant just to be painted, and they're really well done. I don't see any bad staining. I don't see anything wrong that I can correct. So really well done. The contrast application has been done very well. So congrats. Oh, you can, for example, there's something that I do want to point out here, is that you can increase the contrast on this guy. If you take something like a Leviathan blue, which will be a color like this, you can pick a thin brush and run Leviathan blue into the fingers, because sometimes with contrast paints happens that the in between fingers and so on, they kind of misses, kind of just doesn't have enough contrast. So running a bit of Leviathan blue helps a lot. I do it with my elves for the scale mail armor, for the laminar armor that they have, which sometimes it doesn't get enough contrast. So I take a bit of Leviathan blue and do those lines with a brush, and increases that, does that very, very, very well. And again, the only thing I'm going to say is the contrast application is fantastic, very uniform, no visible and obvious pulling that I can see. I really like the eyes on these two guys here. Like, there's a fantastic sculpt. I kind of miss those kind of wacky concept art that they did for the Chaos back then. And yeah, everything looks fine. I would probably have chosen maybe a green for this plasma coil instead of a blue, because they have a lot of blue. Something like green, like their eyes, because their eyes are green. I would probably have chosen green instead of a blue plasma, but it looks well. So that's a matter of choice more than anything. So thank you very much, John, for this beautiful Chaos collection. Quite envious of people that have been in this hobby so long that they have this kind of stuff in their possession. It's not something that I would probably go and buy now, but if I had it, I would probably paint it, because it's just so characterful that it kind of draws you in. But yeah, so great. Thank you for your submission. So let's move. I feel like I'm a bit low. Oh, much better. I feel more powerful now. Let's move into the third submission. This is Tom Reynolds, and as you can see, this is an stunning Eldar. And being an Eldar is always a better submission than all the other. Just joking, of course. But it is an Eldar, so yeah. Great choice. I can see a couple of things that I recognize immediately, like the pink power sword. It's obviously based on my pink power sword video, which I'm really proud of. I know he has painted this all using contrast paints with extra highlights. I obviously recognize that the green is from the Salamander video, which is one of my favorites as well. And I see a lot of very well done contrast application. Very clean, very smooth. The highlights on the armor are beautiful. The swords are just perfect. You can do those white lines that I do, but it's not, you don't feel obligated to do them, but know that you can make them. I really like the look that they give, but obviously they are not for everyone, but I kind of like it. But again, completely optional, and I know it's a bit scary, so if I can understand why people don't want to make them after all the hard work doing all the blends on the sword, which are flawless, so congratulations there. That's a fantastic job. I kind of understand why you don't want to risk it. Overall, as I said, contrast on the green armor is great. The only thing I would probably do is darken down the pants a bit. So I kind of feel like the pants are too similar to the armor. So what I will probably do is just maybe for the next one try and do more layers of this. Let me see if I can. Maybe turn this into darker green. Just a teeny tiny bit darker, just like this. So maybe use a bit more, maybe use orc flesh or something like that. So yeah, kind of, it looks good, but this is an option that you might want to consider. So, of course, completely optional, but I think a darker green would probably make it a bit more interesting. Maybe. I'm just honestly playing around here. I'm just throwing stuff at because this is a beautiful painted by, and I need to have something to say. Yeah, probably. Not sure about that. But it is an option. Let me go back. Okay. So one thing that I would do if you want to maintain this, you can highlight a bit more because the armor has a lot of contrast, but the cloth doesn't have as much maybe. So you can take that same highlight color that you used there. And maybe more of this. There you go. Reinforce all of these cloth lines. Maybe. Well, that is not the color that I wanted to pick. Well, you get it. So maybe add a bit more of the, take the cloth to the same level as the rest of the armor. But again, really nice job there. I will probably be a bit careful defining all the features. For example, here on where the sword meets these tassels, you can run a bit of this darker blue here, so it has more separation. And again, inside here, because with these old minis you sometimes have to encourage them. You have to encourage all the shapes to come out at certain points because they were hand sculpted. And sometimes, you know, you may need to do that. But yeah, fantastic. The same can be said here. You have this this kind of, I think is maybe Nasric yellow, something like that. You can take something like a Psygor brown or Gorgon fur and thin it down a bit and just run it very lightly there, helping define all these features a bit more, you know, that extra line of contrast. But again, I'm nitpicking here because this is really nice and very nice, beautiful mini. It's an Eldar, so that's a big thumbs up for me. Second of all, it's an Striking Scorpion, which is one of my favorite minis. And third of all, is magnificently painted, which what's not to love? I mean, great job, Tom. This is fantastic. Maybe we'll have to do like an elf month where all the submissions has to be elves. I think that would be a good idea. See how this is going again. So let's move into the fourth entry. We only have 5, so we are almost done. We are getting near to the end. So we have to move into the submission of Thomas Oostergaard. I hope the name is pronounced like that. It has some weird letters which I haven't included because it's a bit of hassle to do without the proper keyboard. But Thomas Oostergaard has submitted this beautiful blade. They are called blade. Why I can't remember the name. They are Space Marines. They are Space Marines with swords and shields. So Blade God can be probably. These are Blood Angels, and he first of all he said that sorry for the bad picture. I think I don't understand when you say this is a bad picture. I think this is quite good. I can see every detail. It's sharp. It's in focus, and it's really nice looking. So this is really well done. This is a very good example of a nice, very clean, heavy metal style of paint job, and I think it looks really well. This will look stunning on the battlefield. The swords are beautiful. Again, using my How to Paint Blue Power Source tutorial. As I said to Tom in the previous one, you can always go and add those lines, those, you know, the reflection lines here and there. But the only thing that I would do to the swords is painting these nodules which are not painted enough. So I will take something like, oops, sorry, down Windows key. I will probably take something like, come on, there you go. I will take something like this brightest blue that you use for the sword and just paint this bulb here on the nodule with this. And yeah, that's basically it. And you can paint this as well, this cable. This will kind of give the impression that they are glowing. These nodules are kind of glowing, which is helps a lot. Because you may not be able to see it. Yes, you can. So you have those, and there's a nodule here, and you haven't painted it. So take the dark color. If you take the dark color here and you run it, come on, cooperate. There you go. You run it along the stem, and then you go and take this brighter blue, and you just run the line there. That helps a lot. That makes them stand out. Otherwise, it feels like it's like you missed that detail, and it doesn't look good. But apart from that, the swords are really well done. The blending is really nice. The armor is nice. You can add a bit more highlights. The edge highlights are just perfect, and it's not easy. I mean, Edge highlighting, it's a very hard technique. Looks simple, it's just doing lines, but it really isn't. It's really hard to do, and these are very clean, very precise, all the same thickness, and all looking really beautiful. The thing I would probably do is take something like Lugneth Orange and just make that final highlight. You can do is probably just a small dots, if you want to take this to the next level, of course. Something a bit brighter than this. There you go. So you can just add this very small dots in the corners. Maybe down there in the edges facing upwards. You can do a bit more, just like this, and do these dots here and here. Maybe here. You know what I mean. So that is, oh, come on, that is if you want to take that. So it's very subtle, but you can see that it kind of elevates the whole paint job. So you can afterwards increase the contrast also in the cloth. So just very thin lines, you know, following this. Very thin lines here on the upper side, just like this, just like that, just like that here on the edges. And you can do what the heavy metal team did, which is add weathering onto the bottom of this of the ropes. So you can probably go and thin a very dark brown paint, so something like Rhinox hide, something like maybe wildwood from the contrast range, or dryad bark, and just do splotches on the bottom of these ropes if you want. This is, of course, with weathering, this is always optional. So kind of splotch I really like for this. Vallejo has a color that is called smoke. There's a very dark brown, kind of ink, but with kind of weird texture. It's fantastic paint to do this kind of stuff, and it works really well. Here, and you can of course add the same that you did here. You can add to the boots, like to the lower side of the boots, like here with dark brown. GW is doing this a lot with the Space Marines. It's taking something like Rhinox hide and doing an extra shading, but again, you don't need to. I'm just nitpicking. What I would like to see is a bit more definition between the white and the gold. For example, you have, yes, like maybe it's Sulfuran Gray or Corax White, something like that. You have the white edge highlight, but there's no more shading. So you can take something like Agrax Earthshade and just run a line of this. Let me change my brush to something more usable. You can just run a line in between the gold and the white. That will help define a bit better, because kind of it's a very harsh line. It doesn't feel natural. And you can add this again inside the rivets, and you can later on, that's like that. You can later on take this white paint and just do a small dot and take that back. Just like that. It kind of, again, subtle change, but it kind of harmonizes, adds more definition. It kind of makes all the details read better. I really like the TMM gold effect. That's really well done, so I'm not going to say anything about that, but you can, well, I am going to say you can increase the contrast a bit. As always, you can always increase the contrast. You can take something like Cyber Brown, which I'm starting to experiment with, to add more shading into the metals, and you can add just this tiny extra, just tiny extra. Again, all subtle changes because this is a fantastic paint job, but changes that you might want to consider. So, but all in all, and I'm just going to say, this is just abusing that purity seals are so good, very well done. There's not you really need to have very good brush control to make this kind of thing on the purity seals. Well, very good job, Thomas. This is fantastic, and I think the picture is really good. So if you want to improve your setup with a proper camera, with a DSLR, I always tell people, if you don't want to go and buy a new camera, because it's very expensive, you can always check the second-hand market, and you can get a very good camera, for not very much money. So I would encourage you to go and look for a basic Canon camera, something like a Canon 200D, which is now a bit old, and it's not favored by the people looking to buy cameras, because they would probably get a Canon M50 instead, which is the one I'm using right now. But the Canon, because it's a mirrorless and it's more modern, and it's a really good camera. But the 200D is still a fantastic camera. It's actually the camera that I used to take pictures for my minis. I got mine secondhand for not very much money, and you can probably do the same. So that is always my recommendation. Look for the secondhand market for cameras. But again, this is a good picture. I really like it. I mean, again, really very good definition, and I can see everything, and everything looks fantastic. So I know that you want better pictures, but this is quite good actually. So let's move into the last entry. This is Olivier, and Olivier has a blue Space Marine. This is Crimson Fist, which I quite like Crimson Fist, and he submitted other Crimson Fists in the past month, and again, look at them. A stunning paint job, very good reflective kind of look to the Space Marine, beautifully done. He wants feedback because he kind of has all the highlight placement and all the technique nailed down for the Space Marine itself, but is kind of in doubt on what to do for the bike. All those flat panels kind of seem a bit complicated. So this is my recommendation. So you need to choose one direction that you want all your panels to be highlighted, and you need to choose if you want the highlights to be on top or on the bottom. And whatever you choose, both will work well. If you choose your highlights on the bottom of the panel and the shadows on the highlights on the top of the panel and the shadows on the bottom of the panel, it will look less reflective. If you choose to put the highlights on the bottom and the shadows on the top, it will look more reflective, because that's usually how it works. You want to paint something that looks like a crystal, you paint it dark on the top and very bright at the bottom, because it looks like it's reflecting light. So for example, here you have I'm going to take a color that stands out a lot, so we can all see well what I'm talking about. You have your highlights are coming in this direction here, and in this direction here, again this direction here, and this direction here. You shouldn't want to do that. What you want to do is you either have your highlights in this direction, or you want your highlights to be all in this direction. You cannot mix both. It kind of looks off, and I think that's what you did it right. For example, that's very curious. You did it right here, and you can see how much better this bit looks than this bit. It looks just how it should be. So do what you did here on every surface of the bike, and it will look much better. But the only thing I will probably add on top of that, let me remove all of this. So considering this is how you have your bike, the only thing I will probably add onto this is take this very bright highlight blue and add it into these edge highlights that are facing upwards. So even this ones here on the bottom, you really should add those highlights. Maybe just on the upward facing edges. You can see that it really makes all the details stand out better, and it makes all the light feel consistent across the Mini. But again, a little bit of cleanliness maybe. You can go back with your blues and correct this stuff, for example, like this. But all in all, this is a great job. But yeah, what is bothering you, and I'm probably guessing that is something is bothering you, is what I just talked about. I will just leave it, draw it once more, since you have done all your this looks really well. So I'm going to suggest that you do all the panels in the same direction. And once you get to the top, for example, the top panel can be a bit harder to nail down, especially if you choose that direction. You will probably just want to do choose one diagonal of that panel and do, for example, I can, if the panel is like this, I'm going to draw here, so hope you don't mind, and you have your highlights coming from here, you can choose like this, and even if they meet in the other side a bit, because the other side will have to go upwards, it's not going to be as bad as for example if you do one single highlight in the middle, because that will make it look a bit cylindrical. It's going to be confusing because the shape is flat, but highlight suggests a cylindrical shape, so you want to do something like this. I like the diagonals myself, but you can also do a straight up and down, and as long as you are consistent all across the Mini, you should be okay. And apart from that, I will probably increase the glow on the eyes a tiny bit. Feels like it's not bright enough, so probably take something like, come on. I hate Photoshop sometimes. So take something like this, and you can increase here and add that extra touch of light into there. But again, I know that for an army you just have to take compromises, and I understand it. And this is going to be such a good looking army, by the way. So I think that's all. I wish I could say anything extra. Oh, yes, I can. I just realized something. I will add a bit more definition into the middle of this metallic detail here. Maybe this is a work in progress shot, or maybe he just forgot, but okay. So I will probably just take a black Templar, or even just black, and run this into the into all these lines, just to define them better. There you go. Now it's easier. So yeah, just run it, have a bit more definition, separation of details, picking up all of this, making it cleaner and easier to read for the eyes. But yeah, all in all, fantastic job. This is going to be a stunning army. I know you say, I know it is blue, but it's a very beautiful blue. And Crimson Fists are not Ultramarines, which are like the worst defenders. So, well, good choice of army and a fantastic paint job, Olivier. So, thank you very much for your submission. It's very much appreciated. So, this has been everything for the review this month, but very solid entries. And I really hope you have enjoyed watching this. I'm now going to go back and see if we have any comments on the chat. And if you have any questions, leave them on the chat, and I will go through them slowly but surely. So let's see where we are. Yeah, so colorful. Yeah, those ghosts are just beautiful. 8th mini, yeah. Yeah. I did just buy tufts today, the better for the next month. Yeah, just gluing some tufts will make a vast improvement. I will probably share a couple of photos of my ghosty boys on the Patreon Discord chat, so you will see what I'm talking about with the muted purple flowers. Yeah, synth. It's kind of synth wave. Ghost looks fantastic. Of the crown. Thank you very much. Thank you, Massimo. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Harry J says Citadel should release Legacy of Line of Sculpts. It will sell like hotcakes. I really think that what they did with the made to order minis for the old school, they should do it again. I think it's a fantastic idea, and people are really missing some fantastic sculpts that I think would be great to have back. So I really agree with that. Tom Reynolds, I'm really glad you like my feedback. Thank you very much. It was a beautiful mini. What can I say? It's beautiful. Eldars are always nice to review. Yeah, as people saying this Blade God. Yeah, Blade God veterans. That's it. I need to work on highlighting the reach also. Oh, okay. You are. What's the name? Thomas Ostergaard. Thank you very much, Thomas. I killed the highlights with a glaze of Lesturius. You didn't clean. They are there. What you need to do is probably just reapply them. And yes, you say thanks a lot for the feedback. I think I will try with better lights first, then maybe a camera if that's not enough. Yes, people think that getting a good camera will solve all their problems. Light is more important than the camera, far more important. I have the same that I have on my painting table, which are two of this. I have two for the painting table. I have two for my pictures, for my picture setup. So get two of this with nice bulbs, and make sure both of the bulbs are the same color and are exactly the same bulbs, and the camera should probably take care of that. It looks almost like something like Gareth Nicholas has been. Yes, it's actually very similar to Gareth Nicholas' style for his Crimson Fist mini. So yes, it's quite similar. Gareth Nicholas applies a lot more secondary reflections and things like that. But of course, you really can't do that for a whole army. That's just not a thing. John Gammon is asking, Juan. What brushes are you using recently? Rosemary & Co. Series 33, size 3 and 4. I used a size 2 for the skink video, just because my size 3 is a bit it's wearing out a bit after all this painting, and I don't have a replacement, so I had to take the size 2, which I don't like as much for the finest highlights, because the size 3 was playing tricks on me. So I took you can see the size difference if you watch the skink video. At some point for the finest highlights, I use a smaller brush, that's the size 2, but I really prefer, I probably going to make an order to Rosemary & Co. At the middle of the month for new brushes, so I probably take I only buy size 3s and size 4s for the mainly size 3s. I probably order 4 or 5 size 3s, and I will probably order 2 size 4s, just because I really prefer the size 3, but I like to have this bigger chunky size 4, and maybe buy a size 5 as well, or a size 6, so I have something large to work with if I need it. Malice in Wonderland asking, how do I submit for the next one? You need to sign up for my Patreon or become a channel member, Malice. It has to be Menotarm's tier or above, so all the €5, $5 or £4 tier, and that will get you an entry into the next month. And also access to the Discord for patrons, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. It's well worth just for the Discord. The best community ever. Charles Ramintas, hey mate, as another of my lovely patrons. Great reviews, enjoy seeing the reviews and the tips. Thank you very much, Charles. I really miss you not submitting mini this month. Miguel Garcia asking, where are you from? I'm from Bilbao, in north of Spain. For those that you don't know, he surely knows. Ludovic, hello, you made awesome stuff. Will you paint Cruel Boys from the starter box AOS 3? I probably will, yes. I always say it's for the Heavy Contra series. The plan has always been to have at least one video for each faction. So some factions will get more if I like it personally, or if I find the minis are in very high demand or very interesting. So I probably paint one Cruel Boy. Probably if I can get my hands on one. I'm not going to buy the box, I have no interest in it, but if I can get my hands on a Cruel Boy, I will surely paint it for the channel. And I will surely paint it if I can't get it now, I will probably get it later on and paint it later on. As said, every faction from both games, 40k and AOS, will get a video at some point. So I'm just this is not my full-time job, so I really need time to do it. I did for a very long time one video a week, but that was burning me too much. So I'm now doing 2 videos a month with 2 live streams. The review and the PAB, which is coming in a couple of weeks, and that seems like a good flow for me. So I'm really happy with it. So I will probably add some painting live streams, because I'm getting a Lord Croak very soon. It's just shipped, and I will probably build it live, and I will probably do some painting live streams. Maybe a tutorial, but I'm not sure. It's too big. It's too much job. But if I do one, it will be just one for the month. I won't do 2. I will just do that video solely on a month, and then do the live streams. But I'm not sure. Keltoy 3000, any chance for a leather tutorial? I have a lot of leather painted in my Heavy Contra series. Go and look for the Heavy Contras, watch them all. I have painted leather a ton of times. But I don't have like a specific leather video, but I have a ton of leather painted, distressed, clean, very weathered. There is a lot of that. So go and watch them all. I have a lot of recipes for leather. I have so much that someone in my Patreon Discord has made a list of all of them, actually. And it's like a compilation. So go and watch all my videos, especially the Space Marines ones. you want distressed leather, now comes to mind the Raven Guard video. Raven Guard has a distressed leather look. The Orc has also very nice distressed leather. Go and watch them. I did a very nice leather recipe for the Ulfen watch as well, which is a brown leather, but it's highlighted using blue because it makes it really saturated and old looking. So yeah, that's all my suggestions. Greetings from Germany. Greetings, Kinru. Highwood. Magus42 switched to Rosemary and Co, and it's been my staple for a while now. Lovely brushes. They are lovely brushes, and what I like the most is they are cheap. They are, for being Sable brushes, Kolinsky brushes, they are really cheap, which is nice because painting with acrylic paints, we destroy Sable brushes. It's just what it is. Sable brushes are designed to be used with watercolors, which even dry, dissolve in water, reactivate when you wet your brushes. So using acrylics is way too harsh for those soft, delicate brushes. A good Sable brush will last for a lifetime if for a watercolor painter. That's big watercolor Sable brushes, like size 20, size 12, cost up to 200 euros per brush. So they're not meant to be thrown away. They are meant to be kept as a relic. They are meant to be used for a lifetime, literally. But we destroy them using them with acrylic paints. But just that's the way it is. I mean, that's because we are using acrylic paints in the same way that watercolors are used, very thin, glazy, thin layers. So we use watercolor brushes because acrylics in canvas painted are not thin at all. They're just like very thick, like you would use oil paints. That's the idea for the heavy body. Acrylics are to simulate oil paints without the hassle of oil paints, more or less. So they are very, very thick, and they use very thick, very hard brushes. So we have to use very soft, very delicate brushes, but we destroy them. Having a brush that is cheap means that if after 6, 8 months, a year, that brush is no longer performing well, you can just move on and buy another one. And instead of expending 12 euros, you can spend just 5 or 6, which is half or 2/3 for some brushes, and you get a very nice brush again, and you save a bit of money. And again, they are beautiful brushes. Also, I really like to support the small companies, and Rosemary & Co is not a big company, and they are lovely people. I have talked to a couple of them through email when they were setting their I will just lost that word. Their affiliate program, and they were lovely people, and I'm really happy that I have an affiliate link, which should be in the description below. Charles Miniatures is working on Wraith Blades and a Viper right now. Yeah, more Aeldari is always good. Gracias, Miguel. Yeah, Krog's such a massive model. I just don't like painting large models. You all know that. So, Ludovic Charlier, this is the last comment. If you have any questions, this is the moment to do it. Otherwise, I will just shut this down and go to watch a bit of telly with my wife and rest for a bit. So, if you have any questions, this is the time to put it down while I read the last comment. Ludovic Charlier says, thank you for the answer. I will wait for your paint style to begin that army. Or maybe you have something similar, more darker than the orc in your video. Yeah, that orc is painted in very much the style of the new 40k orcs. I will probably have to do. I'm sure GW will make a guide on it. As for the metals, I will suggest you go and look on the Iron Warriors video, which has a lot of weathered metal using contrast paints. So that's a good start. There is also leather here. Go for the Space Marine videos and go for the you will get leather recipes. You will get weathered metal recipes, and you will just need to paint the flesh in a different tone. So you can probably go and look for the official video when it launches, which I'm sure they will make, and I'm sure it's going to be lovely for an army type of video. Unless they hide it behind the paywall of Warhammer Plus, which we don't know, but I'm guessing they will probably put some videos, some of the better or more advanced painting videos behind the paywall of Warhammer Plus, which I know they have hired a really good painter, but she hasn't made any videos yet. So I'm guessing that her videos will be on Warhammer Plus and not on the free Warhammer YouTube channel. So yeah, obviously they need to put content so people will subscribe. So that's my guess. Jay Carab, any tips for making sickly pale skin? I find it really hard to put off. Well, I have this boy here. If you can recognize what he is, he's a very cool vampire, Bretonnian vampire, by the way, because he's Prince du Valle. And I'm going to paint him, and he will have sickly pale skin. So stay tuned for that. But if you want a very pale skin tone, go and watch my Iron Hands video. The Iron Hands is? Yeah, go and watch my heavy contrast Iron Hands video, and I have that came out like very pale, sickly skin tone that I really like. Is one of my favorite skin tones of the whole heavy contrast series. So go and watch it, because they will probably do something very similar for the vampire. Gracias, Diego. Thank you very much. Keltoip, who cares about Warhammer Plus? As far as I'm concerned, you are the successor of 2011. Thank you very much. That you have no idea how much that means to me. Darren Lavin has always been a hero for me. My painting style, as you probably be able to see in all my videos, is very similar to his, because I have taken that style, that and Gareth Nicholas style, very much for my own, and just being compared to Darren makes like a really nice compliment, even if Darren started his channel later than I did. But yeah, you cannot really compete with Darren. It's sad that he wasn't really into all of this. Oh, thank you very much, Ludovic. So, Jay Carab, yeah, thank you. So, I think that's going to be all. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you all for watching this live stream, which I had a lot of fun doing. I always have a lot of fun with the review. Reviewing paint jobs makes me think about a way about painting in a way that you usually don't do when you are painting. It makes you think, and also think fast, because that's why I don't even look at the pictures of the minis before, because I want to do it live, so my reaction would be the same as if you would go and just ask me, what do you think about this, what would you do? And I like that way, because it helps me understand my process better, on top of helping you out. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And again, as I said, next painting video will be vampire. Next after that, I will probably do a live stream building Croak. I'm really excited about that, so that seems like a very good fun idea for me. And afterwards, I'm not sure if I will make a Croak tutorial, or I will just paint him during live streams, just because that's just easier for me. And I will just, after the vampire, I'll probably do a bit more of Curse City. So probably one more Curse City video. I said I said I was going to paint one hero, but I think I'm going to paint the Jumpy Boys, one of those. I really like those minis, and I really want paint that color scheme. It seems very appealing for me. So guys, as I said, that's for the upcoming videos. Remember, we have a PAB where you can ask questions and then you will get answers in probably 1 or 2 weeks time. So this is usually at the beginning of the month, so the first week. So we are more or less on time. And the other is in the last week of the month, so expect that there. And I will probably have 1 more video, or maybe 2 videos if I have an idea for a video using the Croak Mini that is just like short video. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but if everything aligns well, I will probably have that too. So guys, as I said, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for all the lovely patrons and members that submitted their minis for review. And as I would say, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.